And remarkably, this is something about Aries that I did in November 2019. Gosh, those were good days, weren't they, before the pandemic hit? And just talking to one of the local clubs here in San Diego about Aries. So, and it was by me, and letting people know that who runs Aries. So everything comes under the ARL administrative section. We have one elected person in the section. The section covers two counties, San Diego and Imperial County. And Dave, who's the host of the meeting today, is the elected section manager. And then everybody else in the ARL organization and ARES organization in the two county area is appointed by Dave, right? And one of Dave's appointees for ARES is run by the Section Emergency Coordinator, the SEC, and that's Bruce. And Bruce and Dave have been in their positions for, Dave, what is it, 8 years?
Yeah, something like 8 or 9, yeah.
9,
a long time.
It's been, yep, been going very smoothly. So Dave, thank you for all you do. So a reminder that ARES is for people who voluntarily registered their qualifications equipment. That's the generic description of ARES nationally. And the elevator pitch, of course, is no dues, open membership. In San Diego, we are open membership. And for general training, we support 2 hospital drills per year. Administratively, as a who do we work for in case of an emergency, and it's for the hospital organization and the county. Under the county government organization, they have the EMS Medical Operations Center organization, and we work for them supporting their emergency communications need. Also part of the elevator pitch is for training. We support public safety at the Miramar Air Show, and we have monthly meetings. So we have about 250 people on the books in San Diego and Imperial counties as members on the books. I would say that about 120 are very active. During a typical hospital drill, we invite everybody, ARES members, and then some people that are, don't want to be in our ARES obligated members, so they, but they come help out anyways. And we'll get, depending upon the time of year, day of the week, we'll get 60 to 70 people available to help hospital drills. For about half the people are retired, and the other half have to take a vacation day off from work or half a day off work in order to participate in the drills. The drills usually start at, we start an ARES net at about 8 in the morning, and the drill kicks off maybe at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and then it runs actively for maybe a couple of hours, and then by then everybody knows what all the problems are, and each hospital starts to shut down their operations, and people in the ARES net go offline to attend debriefs. And the hospitals like to do it during daytime shift. They don't want to pay their people overtime, and they keep things rolling, and they want to break before lunch because union rules probably say that the hospital workers must have their lunch breaks. And at ARES meetings, we usually have 30 to 40 who can take time out on Saturday mornings when we had in-person meetings. I go to the meetings, and the meeting locations alternated between Kearney Mesa and Torrey Pines area. A couple of hospitals were able to give us auditorium room meeting space. And so for the last couple of years, we've been alternating between those 2 locations. Depends on which locations have rooms available. Sometimes we get, they have a conference going and we can't get into a room, and we have to go to another place. Also, just before the pandemic hit, we rolled out a new ARES task book, which you may have seen copies of to help focus our training. The task book is at 4 levels. Nationally, ARES thought about having 3 levels. We decided to go with 4 levels, and we encourage all ARES members to participate in any ham-supported civic events anywhere, because all communications training is good, civic training is good, talking to people, and communicating some of the numbers or data that a host of an event might need you to send. We have occasional ARES classroom training on radio methods, the latest technology. We have HIPAA, PHI awareness training that we conduct annually. And the plan right now is the next ARES meeting, which is delayed a week. So it's going to be on March 20th. We're hoping to have a HIPAA presentation on, as ARES members, what are our HIPAA obligations? Are we a covered agency? Who do we work for? What can we send? What are the exceptions for emergencies? What are the exceptions or rules for ham radio with HIPAA? We'll be covering all that. We encourage, as you know, if you've seen the task book, we encourage doing the ICS courses 1, 2, 7, and 800. And ARES San Diego is also for about, not during the pandemic, but for 5 years before that, we conducted monthly new ham training. We call it Communicator Gateway, where we help new hams of, didn't have to be an ARES member. They just came to our location after an ARES meeting, and we helped them get on the air with their HT. They don't, they just took it out of the box. Maybe they charged it, and we helped them get in the air and figure out how to work that radio. So we mentioned the radio-equipped public safety monitors at Miramar Air Show. We usually do children lost and found patrols. We encourage field training. They're not ARES events, but the ultra running events out in the East County are great times to practice operating radios and handling traffic. Parades or Southwestern React and some other groups have support parades in the area. There's the Avocado Festival in North County, and we also encourage that people to participate in radio contests, especially VHF contests for simplex operations, to learn what your capabilities are and just get better and better at operating radio. If you talk to people who are ARES members elsewhere in the country, say in Orange County or Los Angeles County or anywhere else in the country, you're going to find that their ARES organization is somewhat different from what we have here. Every county, every section in the country has a little bit different structure. Sometimes ARES is combined with ACS. Sometimes they're different. The communications methods that they use are different. We are gung-ho on promoting WinLink, but other areas have their own system that they're very happy with, and they practice on that all the time. So specifically, what does ARES do? So during a hospital drill, or if it were an actual emergency, we deploy some volunteers, 1 to 5. We hate to do one. We usually send people in pairs, a new person and an experienced person, to each hospital to provide backup communications. And we communicate by voice radio and ham radio to send and receive voice traffic, 213 that we just practiced a few minutes ago. And some people do the WinLink, which is sending and receiving ham radio email on ham radio frequencies. We remind everybody, ARES does not self-deploy. We wait for assignment by the San Diego County EMS organization, and we're covered by their insurance and when we're activated by them. Hospitals request ARES support from the San Diego County EMS. There are a few places in around the county where ARES or ARES-like organizations are tightly partnered with hospitals. For example, they work very closely with the cities under different organizations, and so their structure is a little different. But 95% of all ARES members do not self-deploy, and we have to wait for call-out by San Diego County EMS. I mentioned the insurance. We do not invade hospitals. We do not want to show up at a hospital and have somebody say, "Who are you? Why are you here?" Now you're part of the problem. So we do not invade hospitals. Spontaneous volunteers who are hams are a very bad thing. I give ARES and hams a bad name. So we're only going to send people who are trained to hospitals so that everything goes right. And we normally send the hospitals the names of the properly assigned people in advance so they can pass it on to their hospital security and they know that to expect you. So hospitals have normal communications methods that they use a lot. They've got landline telephones and cell phones, satellite phones, internet, email, internet. There's a county-wide system called Web EOC, which works very well when the internet is up. There are radio and landline trunk systems. There's handheld radios that are not trunk that hospitals use. There's pagers, they use runners, and a lot of the communications methods are vulnerable. If you heard about the Nashville bombing, internet went down, cell phones went down, satellite phones didn't work very well, 911 didn't work. That was last Christmas, the Nashville bombing. So that's when ham stepped up and are sometimes able to do things and to help out. We help cover the vulnerable communications when all else fails, right? San Diego County has a government RCS, a regional communication system. There are hundreds of talk groups for city and county departments. It's a 800 megahertz band. At hospitals, you may see some of these things. There are 18,000 radios in use, handed out by different county agencies. The dog catchers and everybody else have these radios. There's hundreds of talk groups, and during an emergency, the RCS system can be overwhelmed, in which case they might ask ARES to help with some of that. And of course, everything's vulnerable to power outages and wildfires. I remember once a few years ago, there was a fire marching across North County, and it was getting close to one of the communications towers, and we did a partial ARES mobilization just to be ready in case the fire swept over that mountaintop North County location and took out a whole bunch of RCS stuff. We were in standby just in case. So they were able to defend that mountaintop location, and they did not lose it, but we were ready. For ARES personnel security, during normal times, San Diego County EMS runs background checks on ARES members who volunteer to subject themselves to background checks for disaster service worker cards, which may or may not help out at a hospital. Some hospitals like to run their own independent background checks on hams. Sharp Hospital or Scripps might sometimes, they've been in discussions with us about running individual checks on hams, so you get your own badge just for that hospital if you were a likely person to be assigned to that hospital. The Red Cross has their own vetting system to cover their headquarters, building, and shelters. ACS RACES has their own vetting badging system, and Kaiser system, they have their own volunteer badges. So it's a lot of different badging possibilities. Some of us have the DSW, disaster service worker cards, but I've never gotten a cup of coffee from using my DSW badge, so I don't know what it's good for, but a number of people have them, and there's always discussions about what about renewals and background checks. And if you've been experienced with any badging systems in San Diego County before with the county government, you know that they're forever changing the system, and sometimes the chips in them aren't programmed right, and it's a continuous maintenance problem. Overall, ARL and ARES responsibilities, it's to coordinate harm disaster radio communications. So we have emergency coordinators set up for different cities around the county, and they work with local agencies. And if you look at the ARES comp plan, you'll see the ECs that are assigned by Dave to cover their cities, and they work with CAL FIRE and certain fire departments and police departments for their cities all across the county. And so number one, that's a general responsibility for radio disaster communications planning and execution. And then in case of a call out by the county EMS, we would support the served agency, which is in our case, the hospital system. So across the county, focusing just on San Diego County, the disaster organizations have hams embedded. The county EOC is covered by ACS hams. City governments are covered by either ACS or CERT hams. The county MOC, Medical Operations Center in Mission Valley, is covered by ARES. We have 2, 3, 4 people from ARES go to the county MOC to handle traffic that are sent in by everybody in the field. Hospitals are covered by ARES. Medical clinics are covered by ARES. Red Cross has their own ham group, and shelters are a combination of Red Cross and sometimes also ARES and Saturn. So, but we all know each other. We work together. Many people wear multiple hats, and we're many times sharing the same frequencies and repeaters. So we all get along. You'll notice CAL FIRE, there's no box there for CAL FIRE right now. CAL FIRE is on and off about the role of ham radio in emergency communications. Bigger picture, the WinLink landscape. So we talk about WinLink sometimes. That's the digital method of sending and receiving traffic. So we practice the voice traffic because we do that a lot, but some locations have WinLink also. So the San Diego County EOC right now, they have it's covered by ACS, but there is no WinLink terminal in the EOC at this time. There may be in the future. As you look around different towns like Carlsbad, Chula Vista, and Fallbrook and Oceanside, some are well covered by CERT people. We all know each other. We talk to each other. A lot of people wear multiple hats, are ARES member and CERT members. And in case of emergency, we know that some people are going to be covering Carlsbad or Chula Vista. The Medical Operations Center has a radio room that covers is for ARES. It's an ARES room, and there's a WinLink terminal in there. Hospital corporates like Sharp and Scripps, the hospital organizations ask us to cover their corporate because a lot of the communications that we do are hospital to MOC, or it's hospital to hospital, or it's hospital to their corporate headquarters. Their responsibilities for moving medical supplies around require them to sometimes communicate hospital to hospital, sideways, or up to their corporate headquarters. So, for example, Scripps corporate headquarters and off of Genesee in the UTC area, or the Sharp corporate headquarters in Kearney Mesa near HRO is with hams deployed there for training all the time. And so they'll practice using simplex talking to hospitals, or have side chats on repeaters off the main repeaters that we're using. We have some connections with the military hospital, Balboa Hospital, Naval Medical Center, San Diego. And they've been very supportive of ARES training needs, and we go there a lot. It's a lot of fun working with them. The Navy hospital ship, when it's in San Diego, they have a WinLink terminal. They have wonderful communication suite, and we participate with them during drills. There are outlying clinics all over the county for many different organizations. For example, the San Isidro Health is a system where we cover the corporate headquarters down in the San Isidro area, and they have 15 outlying clinics, and we can't cover all 15 outlying clinics, but so they're using other radio methods, commercial methods, to try to talk to their clinics. There are some group homes around town, like in Chula Vista, or correction, in El Cajon. There are a number of group homes, and they have satellite buildings where they have their clients there, and we cover their corporate headquarters. And then they have like buses and shuttles that they use, their shuttle radios to talk to their corporate headquarters, and their corporate headquarters then links back to the MOC to give a medical status there. We during drills, we found it best to have our ARES net controls being home-based, so we're not relying on somebody to get to the Mission Valley Medical Operations Center. It's best to have full-up people doing WinLink and voice net controls from home. And we have found it best to have as many as 3 net controls for voice. in order to keep traffic moving on 15 repeaters. And more of the elevator pitch open membership, and everybody here knows about our website, sdgares.net. And that's the end of the pitch that I sometimes give to people when we are telling people about ARES. Comments and questions?
I don't see anything, so must be good.
Must be good. Okay, we're coming up on an hour and a half on air here, Dave. So any other business for this net before we wrap things up?
All right, thanks, everybody. If there are no more questions, we'll go ahead and close the meeting. And if you do have any questions that you think of later, send Rob or I an email, and we'll be glad to help you out any way we can. Thanks, and see you next week.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.